Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 225 of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Miss Olha Kovtun. She's a senior texture artist at Unfrozen from Odesa, Ukraine. And of course, before we go into the signature questions of the podcast and go through with all those questions, let me quickly mention that in the for contact section of the captions, you can find the links to our Instagram account, art session, and a YouTube video which is about learning the basics of 3D hand painted textures, which is, from a stylist station channels. If anyone, is into 3D stuff, you probably know that channel already. And, yep. And also link to a course, which we're going to talk about it in the podcast as well. So just, thought I'll let you guys know about it. By the way, the course is on discount right now. So go check it out as well. And with everything that I just said, let's move that aside. And how are we doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right, my pleasure. And by the way, to anyone who's listening the past couple of episodes, I think you've already noticed that my voice is kind of grungy right now. And please do let me know in the comment section how has my voice has been improving like after every episode, because I hope it's getting better. I have my tea at hand, but yeah, let's see by tonight, which is going to be I think I've told this before as well. Like today is the day that I record 4 episodes. I think that's the record now. And this is the second episode of the day of May 13th. And the last episode will be recorded at 10 p.m. my time. Right now it's 4:30 p.m. So yeah, let me know how my voice is going to change. Like keep me posted down in the comment section down below. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the signature question of the podcast, which is give us a little introduction on how we got into the world of visual arts and design. Basically, tell us your origin story of, how you became an artist, basically.
Oh, that was the story that came from my childhood, but I was doing it like mindlessly. I was drawing a lot as a child. I was doing some crocheting, knitting, and all that stuff, sewing. I was interested in a lot of crafting and visual stuff. And then for some times when I was studying at the railway lyceum, I stopped. And then I was playing in the games like a lot, but I always thought that the people that are making all of those things, they're kind of the gods, or they need to be studied at some specific colleges to do arts and whatever. And while we're studying at the railway lyceum, the friend of mine showed me that look, he was a programmer working at the studio with the 3D modelers and on interior visualization and all this stuff. And he showed me like 3ds Max and look, you can do this and you can make money out of it. It's the way better than the railway study. And I didn't want to study there anyways. So after my study day, I started to learn 3ds Max. Probably I started from Blender, but it was like the very early stage of the Blender, when you had a really small amount of the tutorials on YouTube and you are doing things and don't really understand what's happening. So I started to make the furniture and the pillow simulation in 3ds Max. And I was burned out after this because I thought that I need to do this for the rest of my life, like to look at all of those strict measurements. And if you're doing some stitched furniture, it requires a lot of technical skills. And when you're going to the, I don't know, rendering, you need to know how to set up lighting. And that was frustrating. That was really hard for me. And I guess for a month or two, I was the burnout and I was sitting there trying to find my way into 3D. And I guess someone showed me the Sketchfab, where artists can upload their models and you can see the different art over there, like from photo scans to game ready models with animation. And I started to discover a lot of models over there. And I was like, I want to do something like this. I started to play League of Legends back then, and I started to search for different concepts and try to recreate all those things, some cartoonish. Then I tried to got into hand paint, and it was a failure at the first time. Then probably I started to apply to my first job because I felt that I can model. I'm comfortable enough with this, and I guess a huge amount of what I know now and what I can is came out of my work practice because I was lucky enough to got nice mentors and nice leads that taught me a lot about 3D and especially on the style that I'm working on right now, on stylization and so on.
All right. And by the way, I am truly sorry that you had to play League of Legends. Like, I'm really sorry that you discovered
Why?
that.
It's a nice game. Why?
Yeah, it's a nice looking game, but the community could, like playing solo is not really good for your mental health. Like, that's all I'm
Uh,
gonna say.
yeah.
What
Yeah,
do you mean,
but
by the way?
yeah, yeah.
Like, what heroes do you main on League?
Um I'm simple enough. I'm mid laner and support the Ari, Nami, Morgana, kind of mages, nice looking girls.
All right. And like, there's two types of, like, League players. There's this type of League player that likes the game art and does cute stuff, and there's like the Z mains who have like no social life, like these Yasuo mains, like Jesus.
Yes, yes. But as soon as I started to work in hand paint and play in League, I'm just that kind of person that playing in games right now, zooming on the textures, screenshotting
Same.
them, yes, and putting on the pure ref for the times that I really needed to look at them. Yeah, I have this reference and I can do something like this. Probably.
Yeah, and yeah, I actually do this a lot. One of the things that I really love about Valorant, for example, another right game, title, is that you can make a single lobby, and it can go in maps, and you can turn on cheats, and you can go ghost mode and look at everything in the map. As an inspiring environment artist, that is super useful. I wish all games had this feature. Like, I mean, it's kind of like an unintentional feature. They didn't do it for environment artists or something, but it's something you can actually cheese out of the game. And yeah.
I really like to watch speedrunners on YouTube just to see how the levels of game was built. Like, I don't know, they speedrun every game that you have. They was already speedrunned by some speedrunner like on 3 minutes or so. With some bugs and glitches, and it's interesting to see, even if it's not the type of content I'm usually watching on YouTube.
Yeah. And well, actually, in the introduction, I mentioned that you're a senior texture artist, but which we know now established that that's your main thing. But how did you, decided to become a texture artist? Because you started 3D, and you said you did some interior design, and all that, and that was really soul crushing for you. But tell me the story of now how you became a texture artist, and how has the whole process and journey been for you?
I guess every artist that have some thin specialization over here became this artist unintentionally. Probably you just doing some things and you become better at it. I started as like modeler without specialization at all, and I started doing different things. I tried this and that and sculpting and everything. And I think the main reason why I started to be specifically hand paint texture artist at my job at Enhance. Enhance is a small company that hiring artists from let's say from juniors. They are teaching you, and they're doing different outsource projects. And at first they gave me like a small model, some cringy, I don't know, some character that was looking like a very angry stump, like the part of the tree, and I was trying to hand paint it in Substance Painter, which is already cringe, but we're all started from somewhere. And they are starting to give me the harder and the harder task over time. So I worked my way out of the easier texturing to the harder texturing. And that way I learned how to paint characters, how to use the Substance Painter and 3D Code, which I was like, I hated 3D Code a lot. I don't know why, because I was stupid probably. So I just worked a lot, and I had like probably three works at one day. Like I was working full time, I was getting a freelance and another one freelance, and out of everything that I was doing, I understood that I really like the painting the most. I guess my brain works in the way that I don't like painting 2D. I just can't force myself to sit down and start to paint. But I can fool my brain into painting into 3D, which is like kind of the same, but the same process, I mean. But you can use more like of a shortcuts and all the kind of stuff. So yeah, I understood that I really like when people given me the ready model, probably the bakes, and I'm doing small part of technical stuff. Like I'm right now I'm doing the UV unwrapping, baking, and the texturing, and I'm okay with that. It's always challenging. You like have different models, and you can discover the way the other artists work, and you can recreate it. And I also like to do tile and texture from time to time, because it's interesting how you can make things work. So yeah, I guess I become the texture artist specifically because people was searching for me. They was like, I guess one one employer said me that we have a lot of 3D modelers over here. We have a lot of character sculptors, but we don't have a lot of hand painted texture artists. And I call it like the crate trap. When you are going into the company, when you are doing only the wooden crates, boxes, whatever, and you did them for a big amount of time, and you're posting them into your portfolio, and the people that are searching for the man, for the artists who are specifically doing crates, will text you like, hey, we need to do a crate, we need to do a wooden box or whatever, and we see that you have them in your portfolio, so can you do more? And probably that's how I became a texture artist. People were searching for textures, they're texting me, I'm doing more of a texture, and I like to do it, and that's how I became a texture artist.
All right, and like it's kind of weird. The thing I'm talking about that is weird is the fact that some people are just not good with 2D. Not that they're not good, but their brain doesn't have fun with 2D. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm the same as well. Like, I've been trying to. I thought, I tried a lot of things in my life, and well, like doing digital painting and learning Photoshop and tutorials and stuff like that. Sure, I would practice, and anyone, regardless of how their brain is wired, they can become good at anything. By the way, like, so it's not a matter of like not being able to, but it's about how your brain has fun with it and you can keep consistent with it. For me, 2D wasn't it. and I tried a lot. I was like, oh, I try to learn as much as I can, but it didn't work. I like doodling and sketching. I still do, but that's not going to get you paid that much. I don't know, unless you're an
Yeah.
incredible artist, and I'm not an incredible artist, to be honest. And well, I opened Blender once, and I know this is such a cliche and boring sentence I'm going to say in the next part of my story, but yeah, I tried the blend donut tutorial. Yes, I know. And I dropped it because my ADHD brain got bored of it after two videos. And
Yes.
fast forward 2 years, a year later, I was like, I was just doodling some random spaceships, on Photoshop, and I exported that layer. I was like, it would be awesome if I could model this roughly in 3D. And that's was the key. Learning something through, like, while being oriented on making a project, not necessarily doing a tutorial. And I finished that piece by just Google searching everything that I needed to know, not looking at tutorials. And
Yes.
that was so amazingly effective. I mean, I still have all my first renders and everything. I archived everything. That looked trash for my first 3D job. But then after that, I was like, wait, this could be something. I had fun with it. It was like playing with Legos. And I actually did and lo and behold, the donut tutorial got updated for the Blender 3.0. So I finished it, completed it, as much as torturous it was for my brain, because it's hard for me to pay attention sometimes to tutorials. I take a lot of breaks. I know that doesn't seem healthy, but that's how my brain is, unfortunately.
I guess a lot of people who are trying to learn something, they're just jumping into the tutorials and trying to learn from the mentor. Probably for somebody it will work, but for my ADHD brain, it works in the same way. And I guess the whole process of learning, in those books that you are reading, how to be a self-taught paste that you need to paste whatever you want to be. Uh, if you're interested in something, you just go Google it and start to do this. Like, if I want to model a cup, I'm trying to understand which software I want. Then I go to Google and software for 3D modeling. I'm just picking one, then I'm open it, getting frustrated, close it, then I go back to it and try to learn the stuff. Yes, that's why I got my first ever course, I guess, on the fourth year of when I was working already. And it was the character course, because I was interested in the industry standards pipeline. Uh, and that was making a lot of sense, because I was already formed artist that had their own pipelines, but I was open for something new, and I was interested in fulfill my toolbox with some new tools that I can use. Probably there's the thing with every new tool that you need to learn. And people are forgetting about that. When you're going to a course, the course is a really specific experience of the mentor that are creating this course. That it's it's always an artist who came through a lot, who formed under some circumstances, and that's what formed him. That's why he worked in a specific way. And you, as a new artist, not necessarily should follow this path. You can pick. You should be picky. You can pick this and that, but still exploring your way into all of this.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, speaking of Blender, I had like a question. Based on your experience with, I think you tested hand painting, texture process on a lot of softwares, I assume. Could you give us a review of each software? Sorry,
Which software
sorry.
is
I had
better?
I had to sneeze. I couldn't finish my sentence. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
What I was trying to ask is a little, like review, like how intuitive and easy and complete it is in software, like doing the whole hand painting texturing process, like Blender, like Modo. I think. Oh, no, am I wrong?
Oh, there's a lot of it. It's like a body paint. It's like 3D
Substance
code,
painter,
the
of
blaze, the
course.
substance painter. Um, they all just have different tools, and I think you can't paint like in 3ds Max and Maya, but I'm sure there is definitely some kind of perverted plugins for it. The thing is, when you're a 3D artist, you have a lot of software, different software that you need to pick for every process. Like you have a sculpting, which theoretically can be done in Blender and in even in Maya, but for some reason you're picking ZBrush because ZBrush is designed for it. Um, in other hand, you can do a texturing in ZBrush too, but it's not as useful as in a substance painter. And that's why we have this like jumping in between softwares every time. And hand paint, is the kind of thing that is you need to pick the program, the software that are mostly um, very similar to the drawing software. Like we have like Photoshop, Procreate, Krita, and all of the stuff that you can paint on, and you need the similar process in your software. I think I saw the YouTube channel Brain Graft. That's the artist who do an extremely low poly models in Blender, and he's texturing it in Blender with Photoshop. And for some of the artists, this bond of two softwares can work really well. I tried this. I started hand painting Substance Painter, then I switched back into 3D Code. And I can say that the 3D Code, which is have now a shrinked version of it, like you have a general 3D Code when you can do the retopology, UVs, and voxel, and whatever they have there. And you have shrinked version, the 3D Code Textura, which is for only texturing. And I think the 3D code offers you a most organically feel of this painting. Because I remember when I have this click in my brain, when I started, to hold a pen differently when I started to paint in 3D code, because Substance Painter have a different engine for the brush strokes, probably. I I was reading somewhere that every brush stroke in Substance Painter it's some kind of vector curve or whatever, and the more you paint there, the more your program starts to freeze and it's become the heavier because of this. No, if you don't have a very powerful PC, it's not the way you want to hand paint, because hand paint is a lot of brush strokes, a lot of jumping for Photoshop eventually, because no software have this tool set like Photoshop. So yeah, I think 3D code the most is like for old school style of painting, but I'm using the bond of Substance Painter 3D code in my pipeline because I'm frustrated to start from like zero from the blank page. I'm doing the whole base lightning and shading and bakes even in Substance Painter, and I'm hoping into the 3D code where I'm only painting using like two brushes.
All right, and that's actually a really great segue to the next question. How we finish this last subject, which I'm going to ask you is how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a new project or a new piece? Basically, what does the structure of your pipeline look like? You know what I'm saying?
Um, there's always like a lot of ways you can go to. At first, you are if you're starting from scratch, you're getting concepts. It doesn't matter if you are gathering a lot of reference and pick and draw concept by yourself, or you already have a concept, then you eventually gather in references to get some things figure out for your brain and start to model. Then I guess you can do or not do high poly model, because someone can model even the character without high poly. If you have something really complicated and you need a lot of texture, probably, I don't know, those ZBrush pipeline, then you are starting from ZBrush, of course. I like to make a very draft low poly blockout in Maya. Then I'm transferring into ZBrush. Then I'm making the high poly model out of it. Then pre-topology, UVs, baking maps, because even if I'm working only with low poly and I don't have any high poly for it, I'm baking maps because I'm making the base in Substance Painter, and Substance Painter requires baked maps for everything. It's the position map, the normal map, whatever. It's like the stage that need to be passed for further texturing and for speed up. So I'm going to Substance Painter, making the base colors, and figure out which materials I want to show on my model. I'm making like quick draft, and then I'm exporting it material by material to the 3D code. And in the 3D code, I'm doing this, slow meditative process of painting, setting brush strokes, small juicy highlights, and all those things that we like in paint for.
All right, awesome. By the way, I was wondering, like, is it possible that we can see the cat?
Um, she's ignoring me. Probably
All right.
she will come here to yell at me because I'm,
Food.
she don't like when I'm talking a lot. Probably because of my high voice, and sometimes she came here, she's sniffing the microphone or sniffing me, and she's like, yeah, she's somewhere. Probably she will come here. We'll see. She's
Yeah,
very independent woman.
woman. Nice.
Yes.
Like the reason I say that because like it's kind of a tradition at this point. Like anyone who has cats has to reveal them. Like like they were like Emily Arena, Anna Moshai. Yesterday, the twin Egyptian brothers I had, they also had a cat named Timon, like a grumpy orange cat.
Oh, the
And
orange cats and black cats are sharing the same brain cell.
yeah, they're not the
They're
smartest.
similar.
Yeah,
No, yeah, not the smartest, but there
they're
are
more
two types.
fun. They're crazy
They're
like that.
fun, crazy, or very angry. There's like two types, or they crazy and they bite you and they're trying to kill you in your sleep, or they're just fun and doing weird, silly stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyways,
yeah, exactly. And the another thing like interesting about cats is like because back in our home we used to, I mean, even till now, like since 14, 15 years ago, we saved a bunch of kittens, and their descendants are still in our yard here, like after generations of generations. And the one interesting thing I've noticed, always, like majority of the time, female cats are always very, very smarter than male cats. I honestly, I don't know what conclusion to make from that. But another thing is with male cats, they usually have two types most times, either really goofy and dumb and fun, or really violent and alpha.
yes.
It's kind of like this.
Mine is really smart, but she's also violent because she's traumatized, and she likes to bite every man that came into my house. She didn't bite and trying to scratch my friend, which is who is a girl, and just only one man came out of my flat undamaged, probably because she liked him a lot. I don't know.
That's interesting. All right. And the next question I want to ask is, have you ever used your dreams as inspirations for any of your works, like any part of your dreams?
Um, I guess yes, because a lot of my works are really colorful. They're colorful, and I'm the kind of person that in my life I'm wearing almost always only black. But in my artworks and my dreams are always really colorful. I'm like the shiny stuff and a lot of like bright colors, and that's why probably I'll have hand paint, because in a lot of those fantasy artworks and concepts, like for the World of Warcraft, for Diablo, you have a huge range of colors and forms, and probably that's that's why it resonates with me a lot, because my personality are made to make stylized art and hand paint and all that kind of stuff.
All right. And the next question is, who are some of your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
I really like to look at, Asian artists a lot, and also at artists that are working on the Riot games, because that's a lot to learn from them. Uh, I'm also like some of the Ukrainian artists and 2D artists. Alex Hanukkah Fast, I guess. She have a lot of nice palettes, the bright ones, and she really uses the colors in the fun way. And I even have the tattoo sleeve of one artist that I really like. It's the Sabas Apterus, I guess. That's how his nickname is pronounced. Here he's drawing a lot of goofy zombies and specialized on them. And even though I like the cute stuff and I like most of the nice stylized things, I really like to discover some new artists that are doing the creepy things with the skeletons, with the undeads, like Billy Lees, I guess his nickname on the Instagram. He's doing very detailed renders of the human skeletons with some I don't know, jewelry and some in the old Gothic way. That's probably who I wanted to become if hand painting doesn't work, but as long as it works. So, yeah.
All right. By the way, the ink looks amazing. Like, whoever was your tattoo artist, shout out to them.
Yeah, thanks.
And all right, the next thing I want to ask is like, any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for an aspiring texture artist?
Yeah. Your portfolio should be a representation of two things: who are you, what you're doing, and what are you wanna do. Because if you have in your portfolio only some sketches or some unfinished things, you are not able to find the job for doing sketches. Objectively, there is the thing that you can be paid for and you cannot. At first, you need to look at the artists that you are really like and see how they making the presentation of their works. What are they doing? And if you are already doing some textures, I think I saw a lot of artists are doing substance designers, those renders of the balls and rotated things. It's one field of texture artist, and you can do like the characters and hand paint things. So you should represent in your portfolio what you are doing. And here is my
Hello. What's
yeah.
the
This
name?
is Pusia. Pusia, it's like translating from the Ukrainian, it's cutie, like cutie or some nice cat. And the thing is, she's not a nice cat. She's just a silly, angry cat that bites everyone except me. So yeah, she came as I said. She came and she passed away.
Just an
She passed through my
advertisement.
table. Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right.
Yeah, speaking about the portfolio, as I said, it should be the presentation of your skills. If you don't have like finished projects, or you're searching something to start from, you can easily go to the company that you like. And a lot of companies actually on some sites with job offerings. Oh, she got the zoomies. Uh, you can ask them to do a test task, which is a really nice way to try yourself at actual work task. And also, if it's not an NDA stuff, you can post it in your portfolio. So your portfolio should be not really big. You should have like at least three nice projects finished, nicely presented. And also, if you have some old artworks, don't be shy and just hide them or delete them, because when you're developing as an artist, there is some things that become too old for your skill. And let's say if I'm gonna post things that I was making like 3 or 4 years ago, it's not my skill level anymore. And as you are developing, as you become more professional artist, you need to update your portfolio constantly to show for potential employers that see, I am doing these things, and this information is on this time is actual. I think like this.
All right. By the way, what type of breakdowns do people need to upload on each post? Because as you know, like in 3D, portfolios is a bit not that different, to be honest, than 2D. Because in 2D, sometimes you need to post initial sketches and breakdowns as well. But in 3D is a bit different, and like more important, to show like different
Uh,
breakdowns. But
it
how's it
it
for
it
texture?
de- it depends. It depends on what kind of 3D artist you are. If you are a character artist, I guess you need to post the concept. You need to post the breakdown as block out or some ZBrush renderings. If you do a high poly, if you are doing low poly to and UVs, you need to show that, see, I'm doing topology, I'm doing the UVs, and I pack them. If you're an environment artist and you are doing texture, you need to share a little bit of a sneak peek behind your the whole process, that I got an idea, I got references, even the mood board from Pinterest screenshotted just at the very end of your project should work too. As a texture artist, probably I saw a lot of famous artists like from Riot and from Blizzard also posting the processes from the bakes, from stages, the base color, shading, and render. It's up to you really, because when you're searching for a job and you need to show the skills, like doing low poly is a skill, packing UVs properly optimized is skill too, drawing the textures is also a skill. Sometimes as a 3D actors, you need 3D artists, you need to be flexible. Probably if you used some different kind of forms and shape through your research while working on a project, you need to show that too. It's like, look, I can do this and this and this. I saw when Art Blast from Riot Games was made for, I don't know, kind of expansion for Spirit Blossom, and there was like a character from different like sides, and the chromas for the different colors. And if you are a texture artist, you are showing that I made the different kind of textures. If you are a technical artist or animator, you are showing that I have this model, I made this rig, and I make it move like this. Uh, I guess it should work like this. Just breakdown of things and skills that you are used for this project.
All right. And all right, let me ask you another thing. What are you working on right now that you can tell us about? What kind of project is it? I mean, of course, NDAs are always a thing that exist. But
Yes, yes.
what type of, aside from that, what type of thing you're doing right now that you can share with us?
Um, I'm working on a big project that have the similar art styles that I worked on like all of these years, just as I have to do environments, I have to do tiled textures, and there is a lot of challenges for me. But as I counted from the last year, I made textures more for than 45 or up to 60 characters, different kind of characters, and I made the textures for a lot of object like small buildings and that kind of stuff. We're working on a big game, and in this game we have like different kind of units that you have the common units and upgraded ones. So as I'm 3D artist that working mostly on textures, I need to show that we have the usual unit, the weak tier 1, and then we have the tier 2 unit. So yeah, right now I am doing mostly only textures. We have a modeler, we have an animator, and the modeler are modeling for me the characters and environment, and I am doing the things that I love, the textures. That's all I can say right now.
All right, and all right, let me ask you a couple of general questions.
Mhm.
What are some of your favorite games and franchises just growing up and even till now? What are some of your obsessions?
I guess it's some kind of prof deformation because the more that I work as a 3D artist on the games, the less I play in games. Probably because right now I have the job that I really love, and it fulfills all of my I don't know, joy requirements for this. But I really like recently a lot of games like Stray, like Stardew Valley. I played it a lot. I saw that a lot of games for cats are upcoming on the consoles, on the PC. Um, the whole Witcher franchise, this like classic, it changed my mind on the games in the whole. I'm also started to play Ruined King because I'm following a lot of the artists that I was working on the Ruined King, and it's really nice and fun to see the models that you are explored on ArtStation with some wireframes and with some technical details to see this actually in game and how things are working. I guess sometimes I'm playing League of Legends because guilty pleasure. And I'm also played Alien Isolation because sometimes I love horrors, but I'm not brave enough to play them by myself. So a lot of them I'm just watching on YouTube. But the Alien Isolation is like a really atmospheric kind of game that I'm got and played by myself. It was kind of scary.
By the way, on a Stardew Valley, did you finish it to 100% perfection?
No, I'm the person that don't like the challenges. I'm getting frustrated because there's the things that you need to work constantly, and you need to farm these things with the fishing rod and whatever. So I'm getting bored really, really quickly. So nah, I'm
For
just
me,
played for some times, and that's it.
yeah. Like it's like one of those games that I really love, and but the unfortunate thing is I finished it everything to the end, so I can't replay it anymore. Like last summer, actually, like I was depressed a lot, and that game actually really helped me overcome my depression. Yeah, like to be honest, for 2 3 weeks, like nonstop 168 hours or something, just nonstop grinding and trying to get all the achievements and everything.
Yeah,
And
sometimes it works for me as well. All those kind of farming simulators is probably the first thing that I started from my journey in the internet and games in general. I was little, probably like 10 years or whatever, and I discovered those browser farming simulator games, and and I think that's where it came from, the Stardew Valley and Don't Starve, and then Oxygen Not Included, and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting.
yes, Minecraft, Valheim. I love all the survival games. I had a lot of fun with all of them. And all right, so the next thing I want to ask is, what are some non-art related stuff that you have going on in your life? What are some of the things you want to pursue in life that are not art related?
The plants. I'm growing
Gardening.
plants.
Awesome.
Yes, because it all started from I was moving a lot from flat to flat, from house to house, and when I settled up, I thought, well, it's not the time for plants. When you will move in, it will be really hard. But then the war started, and I was like, yeah, we live in one single life, so why should I tell myself no? So I'm growing plants. This monstera was like small leaf, and I have another one at the kitchen, and I have like a lot of different kind of plants. Not too much, but sometimes I'm going to the shop, and we have the stores, the grocery stores, and at the very beginning of the grocery store, sometimes they are dropping the flower pots, and I was like, it's mine. I'm going. You are coming home with me. Yeah. So I'm also going to a gym, because when you're artist and you're sitting a lot at your computer, even if you don't want, you need to go for a walk. And as you know it's really sad to say, but those things that people are saying, just go on your walk for your mental health, go touch the grass. Yes, it's working. Even if you don't think it's not, yes, it's working. And you need to do something for your back, and you need to go on the massage or do some kind of movement stuff. And the side of it, I'm cooking like a lot. My day is not my day if I'm not going to the kitchen and I'm not making those sandwiches with the fancy leaves of a salad and drizzle of a sauce on top. And sometimes I'm going to the restaurants just to steal some recipes out of there. And I never know what I'm going to cook next. It's because I guess all that happened in my life is art. The cooking is art. The plant growing too. Sometimes I paint with gouache and all that kind of stuff. I have the big A4 sketchbook that I'm drawing a lot of flowers, and I'm saving there the dried petals of the bouquet that I bought or somebody gave me from the flowers. Like a typical ADHD person, I just have a lot of projects, and sometimes I'm doing them, but mostly it's the gym, cooking, and flower gardening kind of. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And of course, last but not least, let's also talk about a bit more in depth about the course, which is linked down in the description below. You can go check it out and buy it if you're interested in that. And also, there's like a little bit of a sneak peek of the course as well, as a YouTube link in the description as well. And yeah, tell us about that.
So we made this course with the Thomas from Stellar Station. He reached me out and said, hey, 2 years ago we did a breakdown of your hand-painted piece, and I think we can make a course because people liked it a lot. So there's actually a course that will teach you my specific pipeline and my vision on a hand paint and how things work. I did a lot of research on, the color theory and light and stuff. You can find it anywhere on the YouTube. But for me, it was kind of hard to understand it. Like, okay, you have the complementary colors, but how the heck should I put it on my model? So I tried to explain it in the way that was informative for me in the first place, and how this works. Like, there's a lot of things that artists or mentors don't explain you, like why this brush stroke is should be right here. And I'm touching this kind of things when I'm painting. We paint materials on the Photoshop, even though I didn't like to paint 2D at all. But I painted and I explained why I'm doing this and that. So, and as far as the course started, there is a lot of which is really touching for me. A lot of people saying and texting me about how handy and how good the course is, and how well I'm explaining everything, which I was really worrying about. So yeah, it's more of on a pipeline from start to finish. You also will get the model that we made for the course, like the food card, so you can tweak it by yourself and experiment it a lot as you want. And also you have the opportunity to ask some questions if something is not as clear as you'd like to be.
And also, can people also send you the step-by-step process of their work as well during the course to you to get feedback?
I guess yes. Why not? There's also like the model of a food cart with, the jars with a containment, and there is a task, like a homework, to put something that you want to put there in those little jars. So it's really interesting to see, like, the course is for 10 hours, and of course people are just started it, and I'm really excited to see how people will go through and color it in their own way. As far as I see, it's coming really great. So yeah, I'm interested. I really like mentoring. I really like to help people learn something new. Why not?
Help growing plants. Yeah, that's about it. Same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you heard it, guys. If you really want to get into 3D hand painting, and textures and stuff like that, do check the link down below and the video as well. And also, like, it has, like a lot of things inside. Like, I have the link opened up. It has 3D Code 101, hand painting fundamentals,
Yes.
Substance Painter 101, industry tips and tricks, which you're getting, I guess, industry tips and tricks here as well. But there's going to be a lot more there as well. So yeah, obviously. And yeah, there's a lot of, like, it has a huge curriculum. So yeah, do check it out, definitely. And with that being said, we've reached the final question and section of the podcast, which is called Time Capsule. And let me explain basically what it is. Sorry for sneezing in the microphone. That must be really painful for hands-free users, headphone users. And all right, so imagine that you're in a spaceship, all right, and you're in an escape pod. You're about to get ejected into space and are going to be lost forever. And your cat is looking at you from the other side of the window, wondering why you're there. And in that time, you have the opportunity to record some voice logs with some device on there, and you have a couple of minutes to say your last words. What did you say to? And this is going to be like the last thing you could impart from one human to another human being. What would you say in that situation?
Um, as the war started, the full scale war, and every one of us had those feelings that tomorrow, it's not as bright as you think, and it can never. There's a huge possibility that you won't wake up tomorrow. I thought that there is no better time than for live your life than now. You need to live your life. If you wanna do something, just do it. If you wanna tell somebody that you love them, just tell them. If you're worrying that somebody that you're going to tell that you love him is rejecting you, it doesn't matter. You need to do what drives you, what you really love, because the reason of this whole life is happening over here is to live it, to live it, and give it senses, uh, give the meanings for this life only that you understand. Everybody have their own way, and only you decide in which way you will go. And there is no right decision. There is only decisions, circumstances, and the things you should deal with. If you're having the bad times right now, tomorrow or the next week, eventually it will get better anyways. Just live your life, that's all.
That's honestly one of my favorite answers to this question. I'm being 100% serious. Like this is like in the top my top three. Like I don't know what the other two are, but this is definitely one of my top favorite answers that I've ever gotten on this question. And yeah, thank you so much, honestly. And where can people contact you if they had any questions? Is your Instagram okay?
Yes.
All right, I just wrote something in the captions for the posts. And well, thanks so much again for coming by. I really appreciate taking your time, for coming on this podcast.
Thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
My pleasure. And as usual, thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And if there's any comments or suggestions, leave them down in the comment section down below, or you can just send me a message on Instagram or just any other platform that's available. I'll always check them all out. And with that being said, take care everyone and stay safe till the next episode, which is going to be recorded in 2 hours for me, but you're probably gonna watch it, I don't know, some other day. Bye bye.
Bye.